Rocker Pat here. All right, guys, this is another hot rocking day in the jungle. It is a beautiful day here in Houston, Texas. We probably got about 62, 65 degree temperature. Winds coming out of the north, nice low humidity, and Jackie is looking fine. All right, well, we got another little girl here in the shop right now, and let's talk about this 1965 Ford Falcon, all original convertible. Well, I say all original. I believe this car has been restored at one time or another due to some things that we're going to talk about. But this came in. Yeah, I keep telling myself I'm not going to take these kind of jobs in, but I keep walking right into it. Problems with it are, the original complaint is rocker panels, inner rocker panels. Okay, let's see what we can do about that. But, well, you know, those kind of jobs always grow and everything. So let's go over what's going on with the car. I've already started a list, and the list is not looking good. We've got a valve cover leak, we've got a transmission leak, we've got inner rocker problems, and this inner rocker problems is actually pretty big problems. We need to install a heater control valve. The horn is not working. The shocks are gone out of the shocks. Brakes are, well, I noticed the wheel cylinder is leaking, but the good thing is there's all brand new wheel cylinders in the back. Carburetor needs choke work done. The accelerator pedal or pump is not working on it. There's no PCV hose, and we need to check all the lighting and fix a fuel line back at the gas tank. But there's two big problems with the car, and the two problems is going to be the inner rocker problem, and I have found some major frame damage. And yeah, so it's not looking good here. I'm gonna have to get back with the customer because we're definitely gonna be revising our estimates and everything, and it's not gonna look good. And it's sad because the car is in really, really pretty shape. When you look underneath the hood, it's in perfect condition, but there is some rot in the frame area of this car. And I know it doesn't have a frame, but there is a frame built in to the unibody of this car, and it's got structural problems right now. So one of the things that I have found is that they have glued the carpet to the floor. That's kind of a, yeah, red flag and everything. But on the surface, it seems like everything's okay. But watch what happens. Well, there's also an issue going on right here with the trunk. Not 100% sure with that yet. But watch what happens when I lift the car. Watch that gap. That gets pretty wide. So we're gonna go up underneath this thing and we're gonna take a look and see what all is going on. As you can tell, right out of the box, we got a pretty good transmission leak. I believe that is coming from the dipstick tube. So when I get the car up in the air, we're gonna take a look at that too. It's a pretty nice car, and we're gonna do what we can do to try to save it, because it would be a shame to not save this car. But as with all of these kind of things, what you think is all that needs to be done, you're about to go down a rabbit hole. So let's get a light and let's go up under here and take a look at what the major deal is. Now, this car, I believe, was a restoration possibly back in the 80s or so. One thing you can see right here, this is just like house flashing that you'd put on a roof or something. It's not very thick metal, it's galvanized. And they're coming from the outer rocker over to the floor area with this. Well, I believe that the previous owner possibly had it pulled down from this side, and now we can start seeing the real extent of the damage that's up in here. Now, when I first talked about this job with the customer, I was thinking, you know, just a little minor rocker panel deal, a straight panel, I can weld that in, not that big of a deal. But this is not 18 gauge, it's not 20 gauge, that's more like 16, possibly 14 gauge steel. So that makes this part of the actual overall structure of this car. And the problem that we're going to get into is that we need to repair this, and the only way to repair this is to start cutting other stuff out of the way to be able to repair it. Now, I have come up with an idea that I think I'm going to try here, because I'm not exactly trying to do a restoration on this. Just the man bought this car for his wife so she can tool around in a little convertible. But we got to fix this structure problem, because that's what's making this car bend the way it is, okay? So it's not just weld in a piece of steel across here and everything's going to be fine. What I think that we need to do, because the rot's on this side, it's up inside of here. You can see some of the rot going on. That's all rot up in there. It's rotted back here. You can see where in this zone right here, where the light's at, you can see where they have gone into the floor pan side where the carpet is that they got glued down so that nobody can see it. And that's a piece of that galvanized steel that is like over here on this side, okay? So that's the first problem with the car structurally. This side and this side need to be repaired. What I have in mind here is, if it will focus, is this is a piece of 2-inch by 3-inch by 16 gauge steel, and I'm planning on trying to stuff that up into this channel and weld it from the top and weld it from here and across over to here, okay? And give this an actual frame channel going up through here that's fully boxed all the way. That's the plan at this point right now. I'm not 100% sure if that's where I'm headed yet, but that's what my first thoughts are. But I got a bigger problem back behind here, and let's go take a look at that. The biggest problem I'm finding right here is that right there. This is the structure in which the car is sitting the shackle on, and it is literally just rotted out. The shackle is probably pushed up into the frame, okay, into the body. But this whole piece right here, I'm gonna have to cut the floor out to come in here and cut this whole section of frame out, make a new piece to go in this zone right here, because it's all just ballooned up. It's just all, it's ballooned up from the inside. And you know, it's all, you know, swelled up right through here. I don't know if we can see that very well, but it's swelled up through here. So that means all the inner structure's rotted. And yeah, that's gonna be some trouble right there. Yeah. And this one's got rot going on in it as well. So yeah, that's a big problem right here. Because at any time that rear end can pop out. And the customer was talking about wanting to put a 9-inch in this thing, and I'm like, 9 inches is just way too much rear end to begin with for this little car. A small 8.8 out of a Blazer or something, not a Blazer, but a Exploder, you know, would go in this thing. But yeah, anyway, bottom line is I got a huge frame problem going on right here. I mean, a bad one. And that's multiple layers of steel going on up inside there that I'm gonna have to rebuild. And yeah, so anyway, guys, I'm still fighting off a little cold. Got a little bitty ass transmission in this thing. I guess it's a C4. Not exactly sure. Not a big transmission kind of guy. You know, try to stay away from Bud Light. Not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? So anyway, I do know that the dipstick's leaking. When you're talking about a tranny leak, just look where it's all clean and everything, and that's generally going to say where it's coming from, and you can see where it's all clean up around that thing. I'm thinking it's running right down that right there. So anyway, I'm going to get this little thing off the lift. Oh, also found, yeah, back here we're leaking a wheel cylinder. So good thing is we got all the wheel cylinders, so we can replace all that. And the shocks have never been replaced on this car in 80 years, I'm sure. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got. I still got a little bit of a head cold and all. So I'm going to let this video go. Y'all keep rocking and a rolling and a rolling and a rocking. And somehow I keep getting myself into these crazy damn jobs I got to fix. Sure is a pretty car, though.